Hi, Courtney here to talk to you today a little bit about preparing for retirement when you're about 5 to 15 years out. And so I have 10 tips for you when you are really thinking about preparing for retirement. And your target date for retirement may change depending on some of these things. And I think they're super helpful. As a matter of fact, I revisit this often because we are about 5 years out from retirement. We thought we might be a little closer, and I'm not sure right now with the economy. Our investments could go back up, but right now I have about a 4.5 year plan. You might say two and a half to 4.5 years. So the first thing is you want to address your debt. If you have any debts at all, including your mortgage, you want to come up with a plan to pay those off before you retire, and decide if you're going to pay your mortgage off in retirement or prior to retirement, because we'll get to that in a minute later. But you want to come up with your budget now. You want to write down all of your expenses every month, including your yearly, quarterly expenses. Like we pay our car insurance every 6 months. We pay our house insurance every year. We pay propane about every 6 months. Our trash is once a year. You want to look at those things and divide them by 12 so you know how much you need to be putting away every month. For instance, I did our budget today, and our base costs are around $2,300 a month. We do not have a mortgage, but that is with everything: real estate taxes, property taxes, insurance. So that includes everything. It does not include food. And so that also includes a budget for health care going into retirement. So a budget where you are now, so you can figure out how much extra you have to save for retirement, and a budget for retirement, how things will change. For instance, we own a couple of businesses. They pay our cell phone, they pay a lot of our expenses, and in retirement, we won't have those same expenses. So I have a retirement budget, and it's proposed because we can't really know, but you need to have both so you know what you need in retirement. Number 3 is figure out your health insurance cost in retirement. Again, we can't really know, but we can look at what Social Security or Medicare is going to cost, what a Medicare supplement is going to cost, and I can tell you right now it's around $400 a month. Yes, we do have to pay for Medicare. It's about $180 something a month. They take that off your Social Security check, and then you have to have a supplement, which is around $200 a month. My husband will go on Medicare in about 3 years, and I will switch to the ACA most likely. Our income will drop down quite a bit when he quits working, and I should qualify for a subsidy, but I am expecting to put aside a certain amount for that. If I don't use it, great, but if I do, we have it, right? So, and you might want to consider a health savings plan if you do a high deductible insurance plan at that time. Number 4 is understand the 4% rule. A lot of people do not understand this, and I would say do a deeper dive into this. But if you have, the average American has around $200,000 when they retire in their investments. Now, there are many Americans that have nothing, but you would take that $200,000 and you could draw on it at 4% over history, what history has paid. And that's not, some people say you'd never run out. Some people like a more conservative number, but you could draw 4% off of that a year without ever running out of money if it's in a market making money. So if you're in a high fee, brokerage account, you might want to look at that. I switched everything to index funds. Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard have index funds. This is not financial advice. It's something to look into. It made a drastic difference in what my money was earning because the fees were costing me a fortune. And so 4% of $200,000 is $8,000 a year. 8,000 divided by 12. My brain can't do the math offhand, but let's say it's about 600. Let's just go with 600 a month, a little more. That's in addition to your Social Security check, and if you have a pension or rental income or some kind of other income that would be coming in. So you need to know what you expect to have, understanding the 4% rule. Number 5 is understand what your Social Security would be. They will give you a statement that gives you a prediction of what your Social Security will be at each age. Know that at 62, if you take your retirement at 62, it will be less than if you take it any period thereafter. It will be at its highest number at 70, I believe. The average retirement age for someone born in the 50s to the 1970s is about 66.8 or 67. That is the average retirement age when you will get a higher level. Mine, for instance, was a difference of like 850 to about 1400 if I waited. So decide what your Social Security check is going to be. If you have a pension, visit whoever handles your pension and find out what that's going to be. We've been doing all of this now, preparing for my husband's retirement in 3 to 4 years. Okay, so number 7 is a bridge fund. For me, we have a bridge fund. Everyone really should have one, whether you're going on Social Security or not. A bridge fund is basically a large emergency fund that will hold you over if you should need income until you pull Social Security, your pension, or off your investments. It also will hold you as an emergency fund if, in fact, you need to pull less out of the market. Now, if you're planning on only living on pension and Social Security, it's probably fine. Pensions can be a little less stable. We don't always know what's going to happen with Social Security. I don't think it's going to go away because people in retirement are some of the biggest voters, and any politician that was going to cancel it or make big changes is going to be pretty unpopular. So a bridge fund allows you to have enough money. I plan on retiring at 55. I will be 52 this year. I know that we would need an extra $10,000 a year on top of my husband's Social Security and pension. We won't be touching our investments until I'm at least 62. So we have to save $10,000 minimally per year in order for me to wait till I'm 62. So that's $70,000 from 55 to 62. I'm not comfortable with just $10,000. So we are shooting for a much higher number with an emergency fund and extra money for car replacements, deductibles, etc. The next one is to figure out what you would do if your spouse dies. And so if you are married and your spouse dies, what would your budget look like then, or vice versa? If you die and leave your spouse, what would they have to do? And make a plan to talk about that. You don't want to wait until you're in a desperate situation to figure that out. I know that I would have to sell our ranch. We have a large ranch. It's worth a lot of money. Most of our net worth is tied up in this ranch. We don't owe anything on it, but I could never take care of it by myself. My husband would probably have to get creative if he was going to stay here, and I don't know that it would. He would probably need to downsize without me, because without my income, it probably wouldn't fly. So we kind of know that we kind of expect that we'll get to a certain age and we will have to downsize the ranch or lease part of our land or something like that. So number 8 was if your spouse does. Number 9 is figure out what you're going to do about your automobiles going forward. We are probably going to replace my car for a small SUV that's more comfortable for travel, and also possibly we have a truck that will possibly pull a small camper because we do plan on doing a little bit of traveling for a few years. It will be used, but my plan is that we will have liability insurance on our vehicles. Right now, we have full coverage on the 2 nicest vehicles. We have a 2007 Chevy Silverado that's really nice with low miles. That is a bit older, but it's got super low miles and it's a very fancy truck. And we pay cash for it, but it's worth quite a bit in this market. We have a 2013 Honda Accord that is worth quite a bit in this market. So we have full coverage on those. Anytime a car is over about $8,000, I keep full coverage with a high deductible. That's a personal choice. When we retire, right now we have 3 cars. We also have a CRV that's an extra work vehicle, and it's paid for. We have liability on it. We'll probably go down to 2 vehicles at that time. We won't have a need for 3. Number 10 is your home. Have a plan. Are you going to sell your home? Are you going to downsize? Do you plan on staying there? What are the expenses? Like on this farm, upkeep, real estate taxes, and real estate property taxes, and insurance are pretty high. They're about $400 a month, and that's high for where we live. We're in a low cost of living state, so it is very likely that at some point we will decide to sell and get a smaller place. But right now I'm just trying to plan on how we would pay for that, but not overthink it. The last one is a bonus one. Number 11, we'll just say, is to decide, do you need to contribute more to your retirement accounts at this time? If you're older, like I am at 51 or even 60, the more you can put in there is great, but it's not going to have time to grow as much as it would when you're younger. So you may need to see if it's really worth it, because you want to be careful where you're putting your money, especially in a market like this. I have a plan on how much money we're going to save every year, and I have a minimum that we're going to put into our investments and a minimum we're going to put into cash, and anything over that, I'm just going to have to kind of take it day by day. We are in a higher income tax bracket right now, so I probably will be putting a little more into investments, but I want to make sure we have plenty of cash savings. And when I say cash, I mean like in our money market where it's easily accessible, until we go on full Social Security for both of us and Medicare. And at that time, I want to keep a good emergency fund for emergencies, replacements, things like that. The number 12, I said I was going to do 10, but I'm going to do 12. And that is something I don't ever hear about except in conversations in some groups I'm in. That's called future proofing. Right now, we are paying for new gravel for our driveway. We are finishing our barn. We are building a storage building for our, we have a small little fishing boat, for our tractor, and for some other things that we have. We're going ahead while we have extra money and taking care of those things. I need some painting done on the house. We had a painter that didn't do a very good job. We need to repaint our cabinets. We need to do some outdoor painting and repaint some walls inside. A few of the rooms have the whitewash in them. You can see I live in a cabin, and they're kind of bleeding through. The wood's kind of bleeding through. So I am trying to prepare to have things, big projects done, so that as we get older and have less income coming in, that those things just need maintenance. They don't necessarily need to be completely overhauled. Those are large expenses. We're talking all of that together is probably somewhere around $10,000 to $15,000, all the things we have going on. So over a 3-year period, we're getting those things done, and we save and pay cash for those. So we are debt free. We have 4 jobs between us, and right now we are trying to maximize savings. We've already done debt payoff, savings, cash, retirement investments, and future-proofing the house. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you found it helpful. Bye-bye.